Welcome everyone to today's Video Guys News Day Tuesday. You give us 20-25 minutes, we're going to teach you about the products we sell, the technologies we have. Today's show, we've got a really special guest. Paul Richards is here, the Chief Streaming Officer of PTZOptics. Paul and I go way back, and I just got to compliment him. Paul is a pioneer in the do-it-yourself live video streaming, and he's grown his little stream into, what'd you say, you have almost 10,000 followers on YouTube and 6,000 on Facebook?
Yeah, we're really proud about it. Every subscriber is important to us, and all of them out there are supporting us and helping us really grow. It's starting to snowball, Gary.
And Paul and I, we talk all the time, and Paul will say, you know, what technology is cool? What's new? What would my customers like to know about working with a PTZ camera? What workflows do you have that we can work on? I said, Paul, this is great. Do you want us to bundle this? I said, no, if you bundle it, that's great. I want to show people how to do it. So you've done a really great job putting some bundles together with PTZOptics cameras and mixers and switches, and we've got some stuff, you know, here on the desk that we're going to talk about. So we're going to hop right into that. But I think first and foremost, let's talk about your PTZ cameras. So first, I want to bring up a slide that shows some of the pricing that's out there, and basically we've got 3 levels of models and 3 levels of what I'll call zoom. So we've got, we've got 10, 20, and 30x zooms, and then we've got USB models, SDI models, and NDI HX models. Oh, look at that.
Okay, sorry, that doesn't work.
Wait. Now I'm like, it's like I'm at the barber.
Sorry.
The infinity window. So why don't you talk a little bit about what's the difference between a USB, an SDI, and an NDI HX version of your cameras? It's all about connectivity.
It is, and that's something we do really well here. I mean, if you look at our SDI cameras here, we've got SDI, we have HDMI, we have IP streaming, and now we also support NDI. So with these camera models, I mean, you really, with almost most video production workflows, have a really easy way of connecting almost any switcher on the market.
And now your SDI unit does HDMI also, correct?
Yes, so all of the PTZOptics cameras support HDMI, and HDMI is so easy to plug into a capture card or a monitor, a field monitor, even your Atomos Ninjas, Gary, that I'm trying to get a hold of to use as field monitors, because a lot of our customers out there, they're outside in a sunny environment, and they want to have a really high quality monitor to plug HDMI in right away and see what they're doing.
I told you, once we get Ninjas back in stock, you'll be one of the first ones to get them, but that is one of the hottest products we have, and as fast as Atomos can bring them into the country, they are going out to dealers like us and selling out. It's really just a hot product, folks, so I'll just give it a little plug. But let's get back to your cameras, because I think one of the things that's important is how do I know whether I need 10x, 20x, or 30x? Talk to me about, like, what would be a situation that a 10x would be better than a 30x or vice versa?
Yeah, so generally, the less zoom that you have, the wider angle the camera can go into by default. And I've actually got a Z-cam here, maybe I can show, that is actually 120 degrees wide. So you can see how wide this is, and check out how close I can get something to that lens and keep it in focus. So the thought is that the wider angle, the less optical zoom, the wider angle. With our 20x and 30x models, slightly more narrow field of view at the widest that it can go, but it can compound when you use that optical zoom.
So if I'm going to put something in the back of a church or a boardroom, or I'm going to cover some sports, the 30x is really going to come in handy for me.
Yeah, so just to give you an example, and right on our website on PTZOptics, if you scroll down, there's a calculator, and you can just scroll it. And you basically, all you got to figure out, how far is the camera going to be to the person or the object that you're zooming into? And you just scroll that over, and if it's 50 feet away, it'll tell you exactly how much a 20x or 12x, a 20x, or a 30x will give you as far as optical zoom when it's fully zoomed out and when it's zoomed in. But just to give you an example, a 30x camera, our most optical zoom camera, 30x optical zoom, can zoom in 75 feet away to give you a head and shoulders shot of a person on stage.
Very cool. All right, let's go to the next slide we want to talk about. and that's got to do with the integration with Roland switchers and the PTZOptics integration. Now, we've done really great with these Roland mixers, the VH1 and the VH1 SDI, and I want to bring this up so that folks can see it. It's a great little mixer. It's a 4, this one's a 4 HDMI mixer, lets you do 4 in. Really nice little job, little mixer, and a lot of people use it for schools and stuff like that where they take it on the road and they might put it in a backpack with a school situation. It's easy to use. It's your basic button, hit this button, fade, wipe. It's so simple. But what goes with simplicity more than a PTZ camera? So I don't even need a camera person. So I was telling you, I think a while ago, about how good we were doing with some bundles we were doing with the VH1 HD and an encoder, because this doesn't do streaming. You said, well, why couldn't someone use a PTZ camera? And I said, hey, Paul, you're right. They should be using a PTZ camera. And you took it from there.
Yeah, I mean, these are probably behind Blackmagic, but up there in one of the most popular switchers on the market today. And it's because they have the great tactile button displays, 4 input switchers with an output as well. Great ability to do chroma key and effects. And so we just did what we do best, and we tested every single model with every single camera that we had, and we published our results. And with the HDMI models, all the way up to 1080p 60, everything works fine via HDMI. On the SDI models, we had a couple resolutions that didn't work, but most of the standard ones, 1080p 30, 1080p 59.94, all work. So we just wanted to make sure that the customers have the resources they need to purchase the right cameras with these Roland switchers.
And you know, we've got some video available. It's a clip, but I want to skip the clip because I just want to tell people that there's the full video we have available. We're going to put it in the comments section. We're also going to put it in the YouTube notes, and when we put it on our blog, it's a really good in-depth video because it's really, I like to call it an advertorial. You're talking about why the products work together, explaining how they work together. You can learn a lot from it, and I love these videos that you're doing. Keep doing them, and I think this bundle is a great bundle, especially for people who have an education situation or a volunteer situation at church where you have a different person operating all the time, so you really can't train someone on some of the more complex mixers and switchers that are out there. And we love those. We use those too. We're on a TriCaster here in the studio, but sometimes you just need something that's down and dirty that gets the job done. The V1 HD, top of my list for that. And working with your cameras, hey, you can get a PTZ controller, which is great, or you can just have presets going in there too. So before we go into the next section, I want to show the pricing on the bundles, and we can bring that up there because we've got a bundle that's got the 20x XDI cam with the Roland V1 SDI, and that's at $29.99, $3,000. You save almost $400, so it's a great deal. We love it. It's a good way to go. And then I want to bring it back a little bit because you've got something on your desk that I want you to show us, Paul, and that is you've got, is that the HC Joy or the PT Joy on your desk?
Well, I've got both of them. It looks like we can go on the overhead test if you have a sec. So here it is here. Maybe you can zoom in on it a little bit. But this is the IP joystick. And so this, we have a serial one as well. This IP joystick can control really quickly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cameras. That's about as much as most people need. And with a click of a button, go to preset 1, 2, and 3, really, really easily. You can lock the focus. So if you zoomed in on somebody and you've got it just right, you can lock that focus with one button so that it never goes out of focus. It's just got pretty much everything you need. Another good feature here is the speed. So you can dial down the speed, and that's really important for sports, Gary, especially like basketball. You want to go left and right pretty quickly to follow the sports action, but you don't have to generally go up and down much. So we can turn the tilt really low on the speed and just go real fast left to right. And the other thing for sports, I was up at the SAR High School in the Bronx, not far from where you guys are, with Jim. And they asked us, they said, look, we're live streaming a lot of basketball. We love the camera. It looks beautiful. But sometimes the students are overshooting the PTZ. So they're going too far to the left and passing the boundary of the sports game when they're going back and forth so much. So we built in new pan tilt limits. So you can now, if you're at a basketball situation, you can say, I never need the camera to go past this, and I never need the camera to go past this on the right and left. And so you're just operating within known boundaries, going left and right to get, to capture a sports game.
That's brilliant. And I'm sorry we don't have a slide for it. How much does what's the MSRP on the IP Joy and then on the PT Joy?
So the IP Joy is 650, and I've got the serial one right here. Again, it's designed exactly the same way, same exact button layout, but it's a different connection. It's only $299. And in this world of IP, you'd think that everyone would be buying the IP joystick, but these are equal in sales. And I'll tell you why, Gary. No network needed, plug and play. There's a lot of situations. We're working with a school right now that's building mobile carts, and they have mobile carts, PTZ camera on the top. They roll it into a classroom, and that's how they record their videos or maybe stream something. And there's no need to have an IP joystick in that situation. You just plug this right into the camera,
You,
and it's a
you,
closed loop.
that's a great lead-in for the next video you guys just did, because the Epiphan Pearl Mini is a great product in the education setting because it's very easy to use. A teacher can operate it in a classroom, do their own mixing, throw in a couple of PTZ cameras or with some presets, and a teacher by himself can do an interactive video lesson, either cutting between himself and maybe his PowerPoint, or maybe it's a lab teacher, so he's got the wide shot of the lab equipment or a close-up of him. And one of the things that we're seeing in the world of education especially is some of this bigger integration with things like Panopto and Kaltura, and the Epiphan guys have done a great job with that. And what those products do is they automate the Pearl Mini turning on and off and starting to work. And now you've got the PTZ cameras, and you can really have a lecture center or a particular classroom set up as your live streaming, remote teaching classroom. Not very expensive. It's going to come in, or we're going to show you, I'm going to jump ahead to the price. $5,000, you can have the Epiphan Pearl Mini, one of your PTZ cameras, a memory card, and a case to carry around for. And for a school, this is going to fit in a budget. This could be something that could be permanently in one classroom, or what we like about the case is you can move it around to whatever classrooms you want. It's just so versatile as a product. Some people just want to record stuff. The Pearl can do it. Some people just want to stream. The Pearl can do it. Some people just want the ease of switching between two cameras with some presets where, I want a picture-in-picture, a side-by-side. And it just does such a great job, and with the flexibility that it has, it's really become my go-to product when schools call me and they say, we want to get started with this. We want to do some basic stuff. We'd love to be able to afford a big TriCast or a Wirecast gear or a more expensive system, but we're really on a limited budget. How do we get started with this to use video in our education? And you did a great video on this. I'm going to let you talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the Epiphan Pearl Mini is one of my favorites. The Epiphan Pearl Mini is great for plugging in an SDI or an HDMI connection, and then allowing the teacher to also plug in their laptop. So they've got the presentation, and they've got one live video feed so that the students can really kind of see the teacher, see them maybe making notes on the whiteboard. Generally, the PTZ camera will be set up in like 2 or 3 presets. One close-up of the teacher, maybe one that's a wide shot that shows the whole whiteboard, and the teacher might have 1 or 2 buttons on that Pearl Mini, which are nice big touchscreen on it, to switch between, let's say, a live video preview of the whole whiteboard with the teacher presenting, and then switch back and forth between, like you mentioned, that picture-in-picture with the teacher's PowerPoint or their presentation that they have going along with it. The other great thing about the Epiphan Pearl series is that the real size Pearl, the Epiphan Pearl 2, just announced NDI support, which we've been getting a lot of excitement for, especially in Europe, surprisingly. A lot of big universities are trying to go all IP, leapfrog some of that older SDI technology. And the Epiphan Pearl, the larger version, the Mini does not support NDI, but the larger versions do. And we're getting a lot of excitement on that as well.
Yeah, it's funny because we're from a pure video production content creation background. You're really from an AV, more conference room kind of background. But what we're really seeing NDI is really catching on that I don't think anyone saw coming this fast. It's such a great AV solution because in an AV world, people have network jacks all over their business, their facility. It makes connecting stuff, using stuff together. And you guys have done some really cool apps for your cameras with NDI where you can actually control them from your phone. And I think that's just so cool. You guys have done a lot of cool development on that, if you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I mean, we're doing a lot in the app space where we're because these cameras from day one, Gary, you remember when we had our first generation of PTZOptics cameras. Now we're on our second, going into a third, and they've always had Ethernet. We've always had Ethernet. So building apps around that has been really great. We have an app for OBS, the world's most popular live streaming software. We have an app for Twitch, which allows the audience to control the PTZ camera and allows broadcasters to monetize giving control to large audiences at esports tournaments or popular streams. And Twitch is one of the world's most popular streaming platforms, even outdoing Facebook and YouTube when it comes to minutes watched. And then we have an app for PC and Mac. We've got an app for the church market and the pro DJ and music producer market that integrates the PTZ cameras into MIDI. So MIDI control is really big in the church market. They use that to organize all of their music during their services, but DJs and event producers also use MIDI to do their DJ sets. We just released a case study with deadmau5, the really one of the most influential DJs in the world, is using 4 PTZOptics cameras, and they automatically move during the show to his sequence of DJ that is however he's doing it with his digital audio workstation using MIDI control. So we've got a lot of different apps, and you mentioned the smartphone, iOS, Android, and also the Kindle platform as well.
Yeah, now also you guys did a really great video on Wirecast and PTZOptics integration that focused on like a band, music in a music session. We've got the Wirecast gear here, so I want to show this to folks too. The Wirecast gear is another one of those boxes. This is a box optimized for Wirecast. It's a dedicated computer, and you know, this starts at $5,000 up to the full SDI model, which is closer to 10 grand. And you guys integrate great with this. This was one of the first bundle videos you guys did, and thanks to you doing that and the pressure we both put on them, Wirecast added PTZ control to their software. So we've done a good job influencing the industry every now and then, Paul.
I know. And Gary, you know, to take that a step further, you're completely right. They've also been getting a lot of requests to build in support for our new Z cams, especially the 12X here. And Wirecast is currently building in. So they've got the PTZ. Thank you, Gary, for that. I remember you leading the charge there. And now we're also building in support for the Zcam models as well.
Now, what's really cool about Wirecast that I like to mention to people is Wirecast is available for PC or Mac. So you can actually put Wirecast on an iMac, and then with NDI with PTZ cameras, you're good to go. You don't have to worry about getting I/O boxes or anything like that, and then it just works. PC or Mac, your choice. They have the standard or the Pro version. For the Delta of where it is now, I really recommend people get the Pro, because for me, ISO recording is so important to get all your camera angles. But Wirecast is their folks, Telestream folks are listening. They're hearing what our customers are asking for. We're bringing those requests to them, and they're giving us great products. It's really great. And Paul, just so you know, above my head, we do have a Z cam of yours up here, which we use when we do product shots. In fact, when I was doing a video on, I think it was the Pearl with the case, we had the Pearl over here, and I was actually operating the Pearl on the side so you can see the screens. That was a video I think we did last week for those who want to learn more about the Pearl Mini, and we were using it with your PTZOptics cameras. So that was a fun show. And then, of course, if you're going to be in the video streaming game, you got to work with NewTek. And NewTek has done some great videos with you and on their own on the TriCaster and PTZOptics with IP camera control. And they, in their last version of the TC1, actually really through NDI put a really nice level of PTZ camera control. And once again, I think that's because they're listening to guys like you and I talking about how popular these cameras are. I mean, heck, they came out with their own camera, so they must have listened to something. But I still think for the money, you guys do a great job, and I think the integration's wonderful. And you know, if you're doing a full-fledged TriCaster shoot with multi-cameras, well, if 2 of those cameras can be PTZ cameras, you don't need operators for them. And now all of a sudden your cost of doing the show is lower. Now, you might want to, if you're doing complex moves and stuff, you might need a controller or a controller for it. But the truth is, the TC1 on its own with the latest features does give you adequate PTZ control to run a program as a single operator. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes. No, I completely agree. You know, there's a lot of guys out there with the TC1 and the TriCasters who are one-man bands, you know, video production people who really have high demands from their clients, their corporate clients. That's where I see a lot of the TC1 users, because I talk to them. And just to hit on a couple of things that you said, you know, one is, you know, the Z cams have been selling so well, and we've been wondering, you know, what's going on here? They're selling tons of these Z cams. Who's buying them? I think that a lot of people have a TC1 or a Roland or a Blackmagic switcher, and they've got those extra SDI inputs, and they're just looking at them and going, I got to put a live video source into this thing. I bought this nice switcher, but I only could afford 2 or 3 PTZ cameras at the time. And they're filling the extra SDI inputs with Z cams just to get a static shot, a wide shot, the ability to zoom in with the 12x and 20x Z cams. But the other thing that you mentioned on the Mac side, like you said, a lot of these Macs, you can't get PCIe cards. What are you going to do? And a lot of the users are starting to go all NDI, and that one Ethernet port is their way to bring in 4 or 5 cameras fairly easily.
Yeah, what we found that's really cool with Z cams today is that, say you want to put it in air, like we have ours on top. That's what cooking shows do. They used to shoot a regular camera off a mirror and invert it. Now they just have a camera above. When you're going to get into an odd space for an odd shot that's just a single shot, it's great. One of the things I see coming with a Z cam, and this is, future vision guy here, is, you take a 4K Z cam, put it in the back of the room. Let's say I'm a bar and I have a band. And now I have a product like a TriCast that can do a virtual PTZ. I can cut that camera into what looks like 3 or 4 HD slices of the 4K. And now with that single camera, I can have a shot that's the wideband, one that's on the singer, one that's on the drummer, and even one that perhaps is ultra wide or, ultra zoomed in on the bass of the drum, whatever you want to do. And I think that's the next thing we're going to see out of this industry. I know the 4K cameras are a little too expensive right now, but the way I look at it, that Z cam in the back of the room is going to become the shot that everyone's going to be using, no matter what they're laying out. And eventually they'll get to all 4K cameras. But I think that 4K in the back of the room just can give you so much flexibility with a virtual PTZ camera type application. It's not a PTZ camera is needed. You have different shots you want to go to, but for that back of the room shot, I just see that as being, a freight train that's going to come on speed once we get those cameras available and the virtual PTZ software more affordable or linked to those, like get the camera and you get the virtual PTZ. He's back. All right, the next thing we want to talk about is some future products. Now, Paul, I know I'm putting you on the spot, and I know you're going to get in trouble if you give us too much information, but I know I want one of these webcams for my office machine itself. We get Dell off-the-shelf machines for our offices, and, for a $100 webcam with audio, with a nice 84-degree field of view, 1080p, I want one of these. In fact, I want a few of them for everyone in our office to start you being able to do more telepresence. Every time I have a WebEx, I still have to dial in from my phone. Well, this is a great thing to add. Of course, there's been ones from other people, but those are, you're going to get you're going to get better quality with you guys. So tell me about this product and when am I going to be able to get my at least sample unit?
Yeah, so these are shipping today. Tess, can you hand me that one there?
Oh.
I'll show it off here. I've got it. These, I was surprised when I found out they were shipping myself, but here it is here. This is the PTZOptics 84 angle Z-Cam, really designed for, close-up conferencing. So it's, 2 to 3 feet from the subject. You can see there that the lens is the f1.8 there, and that was really what we went for because, esports specifically as well. It's a nice companion app for those companion camera for the esports folks. And then, like you said, folks trying to video call with the ability to have that f1.8. It should be able to be right there and get a great in-depth, in-focus shot of the subject, but then a beautiful bokeh kind of like out of focus background. And that's what we were going for. It's like a webcam for video professionals.
Well, one of the things I want to bring up with that you brought up that I think is important is a lot of people set up webcams and they don't realize they've got to post it behind them with their password or some other confidential information. So that bokeh effect at least gives you a little level of security as well in there. So I wanted to mention that. Now I want to go to the go. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I'm having trouble hearing him.
Okay. Hearing him? Next, I want to go to the product that is the product that we were so excited about when we heard about it in NAB timeframe. We can't wait to get our hands on it. We get calls about it every day. People want to know, when is the PTZOptics wireless cable going to be available?
I know. I get calls about it every day too. Everyone's saying, I want to buy 2 of them. I have a wireless need for an event coming up next week. And we got delayed on some FCC regulations. It really is cutting edge, and some of the bands that we were using need to still be certified. I don't actually know. I believe it's going to be in the next 30 to 60 days, definitely before the end of the year that it's going to be shipping. But yeah, it's really a sought after product. 300 megabits of data we can transmit,
Okay,
and
Paul, I'm going to call a timeout here because I realized we forgot to do something. That was tell people what this product actually does before we get into the specs. So why don't you tell us what this product does, and then we can get to the specs.
good point. So the wireless cable, and I don't have one right in front of me. I have one out there. I could
Well,
probably
we got
grab,
on
but
our screen
it's
here so
basically
people can see it.
So it's basically two wireless transmitters that can go up to 400 meters to 1,200 feet from each other, and they basically transmit a tunnel. So it is a plug and play Ethernet cable, if you will, that can go across a football field. It has MIMO technology for 4 antennas. So if a football player runs in between, it'll just instantaneously hop to 4 different antennas that they have connecting to each other. And it's for this IP video NDI world where you just can't run an Ethernet cable to a hub. And now you can create these little hubs wirelessly that are as if they were connected to your network with a 300 megabit pipeline.
So our picture really isn't an accurate picture here because it's really a pair of devices that talk to each other, and they create, it's almost like a wireless cable or a VPN directly between the two. They're the only two things talking to each other. They pair up super easy. I saw the demo of how you do it. We think there is so much demand for this product, not just for sports, but there's so many times you want to have a camera operator who's not constrained by just the constraints of actual wire. And there's other products that are out there that'll do transmitting from, the Teradek bolts and the stuff like that. They get very, very expensive. Your product, we didn't put the price here because we weren't sure if it was still on target. Can you give us what your target MSRP for the product will be for, a pair?
Yeah, it's basically 1,099 is the, I believe, the target. It's either the map or the MSRP. So it's a little bit over $500 per unit, and you can add more units to the system. You can have 5 units. There's a bike race in our town we're gonna be setting up for soon that does like in a mile square. It's like a giant square, so it's perfect to put 4 of these to cover a giant area. You can daisy chain these and set these up in daisy chain mode. So there's just lots of outdoor events and places where you want to have many teams connected together or remote cameras. And the problem with a lot of the systems out there that are just wireless HDMI or just wireless SDI is that you want to control the camera. You want to have 2-directional IP video connectivity. And we've got a lot of great case studies out there of early adopters who we've shipped units to that are using this in all kinds of different ways, even just sending video over a NDI studio monitor at the other side. And then you have remote control over NDI studio monitor to change sources and show different overlays and things of that nature as well.
And you're starting for $1,099, get you a pair. You can add more. Fantastic, Paul. So you're kind of built. You're in the certification phase at this point. So do you think before school starts we'll have these products? Public schools after Labor Day.
I think it's going to be about 60 days personally.
Okay. So around NAB New York time?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we can't wait for it, and our customers can't wait for it. And Paul, once again, I got to thank you. Today's show was absolutely fantastic. It's always great having you on the show. I want to talk about some future shows that are coming up, but stick around if you could, and we'll come back to you before we go away. Okay. We're still waiting to do that show on the new bundle announcements from LiveView. I know it's been a tease going on for months now, but it's really exciting. They're just finalizing on it. There's some new Telestream Wirecast products coming out. There's new Bird Dog Central for managing NDI workflows, and they're shipping their PTZ cameras, so we're going to do a Bird Dog show in the future. And then we're working on a show that's just basically our own tech tips. The guys in the show are going to do on doing multi-camera, 3-camera shoots, setting them up for sports, for studio, for other activities and stuff like that. So we're looking forward to that show. And this was a really great show. Paul, I can't thank you enough. I think StreamGeeks is an inspiration to anyone who wants to build the brand by video streaming, and you've done a great job. And I just can't believe how many followers you guys have. We watch your show. It's great to have you on the show. And I know because we're tapping into your audience, this show is going to become one of our most watched shows. So thank you so much for coming for the show. Any last words for us?
get ready and go live, everybody. You got to jump in at some point, and whether you're doing it for your church or for your school, it's a technology that you're gonna have a lot of fun with, and you're gonna break the mold. You're gonna do some great things. So join the StreamGeeks group, join the PTZ Optics family that we have, and share what you're doing with thousands of people all around the country. You're gonna get inspired. You're gonna want to get involved.
Awesome job. This is Gary from Videoguys. Remember, we've got live people here. You can call us at 800-323-2325, and we'll tell you about these products. We'll help you put together PTZ cameras with the mixer. Maybe you don't want the 20X, you want the 30X. We're here. We'll work with you. We know this stuff. We use this stuff. We use the products we show you on the show to produce and bring our shows to you, just like Paul does. So it's very important to know that there's real live people here who can offer you support before, during, and after the sale. This is Gary from Videoguys.com. Like us on Facebook, love us on YouTube, share our clips, all that good stuff on social media. We appreciate it. Gary, give us a call, 800-323-2325. Don't forget, Videoguys.com. And this is Gary, Videoguys, Newsday Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Give us 20, 30 minutes. We're going to teach you about the technology and video content creation, live production, editing, and storage. Paul, thank you very much for being on the show. Let's do it. Peace.
Videoguys is available Monday through Friday. Give us a call at 1-800-323-2325. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram to stay connected with all of our updates. And you can like us on Facebook. Keep an eye out for our live videos, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.